Okay, now we're going to be talking about a movie that I have not seen in a really, really long time. That being the first Michael Bay movie. Now, here's the thing about this movie. I was with a lot of people when they said the turtles looked terrible in this movie, and I was not looking forward to it. But I saw the movie when it came out, and it was alright. It was watchable. But that was a long time ago, and I haven't seen the movie since, so let's just check it out and see if my opinions have changed over the years. Let's go! The movie begins with a stylized introduction of what we're in for. After that, we cut to April reporting about trampolines. I don't know, this only happened because she failed to get information from someone at the docks. She does eventually go back to the docks to find the Foot Clan, but for some reason, in this movie, they're not ninjas, they're just regular goons with guns. And they end up being attacked by a really powerful creature that's strong enough to lift these shipping containers. Later on, we do get a glimpse of the Shredder in this movie, and I will give him credit. This introduction scene is really cool where you see him break someone's arm with just his neck, and the fact that they got someone who looks like how he does unmasked in the cartoon that was going on at the time was pretty cool. Not too long after that happens, the Foot Clan decides to stage a coup to lure out the turtles. It doesn't really go too well, and after that, April follows them and finally gets to see what they look like. And it's here where the audience gets to see what the turtles look like, and okay, yeah, I am aware people hated how they looked when the movie came out, and even I didn't like them, but over the years, I did grow to sort of enjoy them, but there's a problem with the designs. And frankly, my biggest problem is they're too big. Like, they're supposed to be teenager. Like, every movie or animated show has always got that detail right. Like, they're supposed to be shorter than April because, or around her same size, because, like I said, they're supposed to be teenagers. In this movie, they look more like people in their 20s who go to the gym too much and take steroids. Which honestly makes the idea of them being ninjas make no sense at all. Anyways, after April discovers the turtle, they threaten her saying they'll find her if she decides to expose them to anyone. Which she does almost immediately. Like, she goes around telling people about the turtles, expecting people to believe her, which honestly makes me think this April is only the dumbest April O'Neil out of all these movies. She then eventually goes to tell a scientist named Saxon about the turtles, who was a guy who worked with her father back when she was a child, and he actually believes her, and gives her a nice little calling card just in case she wants to tell him anything. Yeah, it's quite obvious this guy's evil. Why the hell is she supposed to be a reporter if she's this stupid? The turtles do eventually meet up with April again, thinking she might be in danger, and with how much she blabs to everyone about their existence, I don't really blame them, so yeah, they should take her away. She is a danger to them and herself. And with that, the turtles take her to see Splinter for the first time, and Splinter's design in this movie is okay in my opinion. It's not that great, but I don't think it's as horrible as I remember. I would also like to point out that when this movie was being made, Saxon was supposed to be the Shredder, and when you see the Shredder all suited up, it would make sense. I mean, yeah, the other guy's pretty cool, but after his opening introduction where he breaks someone with just his neck, you question why he would need the armor. I'll get into that when I get there. It is also around this part that we get the origin story of the turtles, and I do sort of like the update, but there is one part about the story that I really hate. Okay, so here's what happened. The turtles were experimenting on in a lab that caught fire, and during the fire, April saved them and left them on the street. I have no idea why she didn't bring them home. And the turtles would eventually mutate over the years, but the part about this backstory I hate the most is the origins of how they learned ninjutsu. Okay, so here's what happened. He finds a Japanese book on ninjutsu, which, if he was a human, it would sort of make sense. Like, he could probably learn some Japanese, read the book, and learn ninjutsu. But in this movie, he was a rat, and he didn't even have a human owner for the most part. Yeah, he was experimented on, but it's not like he had a owner who cared about him and taught him stuff. He was just a normal rat in a lab. So him being able to read or at least understand a foreign book makes no sense at all. I don't know, that's the one thing about the backstory that honestly annoys me and makes no sense at all. Not too long after the backstory, the turtles get attacked by the Foot Clan, and the reason they were found was because they put a trap around April. With how April is in this movie, I am not surprised. And it is also here we finally get to see the Shredder. And I'm not gonna lie, the suit does look cool, but like I said, I'm gonna explain why this works and doesn't work in my opinion. Okay, so here's what I like about the costume, or at least the Shredder armor. It looks awesome. And the abilities it has are also pretty cool. And like I said before, in the early drafts of the movie, Saxon the businessman was supposed to be Shredder, and it would make sense. Like, he's a businessman, he doesn't know how to fight, so a suit of armor to accommodate that would make sense. But here's the thing, they show a guy earlier who is now the new Shredder for the movie, who can break someone's arm with just his chin. Why would he need the armor if he could do that? I don't know, like, it's a good idea for what the original script was, but a terrible idea was what we got in the end. Anyway, what happens though in the movie? Anyways, after the battle, they captured 3 of the turtles and are under the impression that Splinter and Raphael are dead. Raphael does come out of the wreckage fine, but Splinter is heavily injured to the point where he's almost dead. And with what little strength he has, he goes tells Raphael to rescue his brothers. He also convinced April's co-worker Vernon to come help. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't mention him earlier, he's just some loser that used to work with April. Yeah, April lost her job when she was trying to convince everyone that the turtles were real. And are you really surprised? On the way there, we do see Saxon's evil plan, and I'm not gonna lie, his plan is interesting. His plan is to release a bioweapon in New York City and then use the Ninja Turtles' blood to make the antidote and charge people money for it. Not gonna lie, it's kind of interesting. Especially for a Ninja Turtle movie. So Raph, April, and Vern do make it to the facility to rescue the turtles, which goes pretty well at the beginning. But once they get to the turtles, Raphael has to fight the Shredder, and it doesn't go too well. They do eventually get to save the turtles by pumping them full of adrenaline to save their lives, and not gonna lie, when they're high on adrenaline, it's actually kind of fun to watch them. And once that's done and over with, they all end up escaping, and I'm not gonna lie, this fight scene here is honestly might be the best in the movie. Like, first we see them fighting minions on the ground, then we get a fun car chase, which leads to them falling down a mountain. And the part where they're sliding down the mountain, like trying to survive and well fight these guys at the same time, it's legit the best part of the movie in my opinion. And once that's done and over with, the turtles make their way back to New York City to stop Saxon the Shredder once and for all. There is a funny scene on the way there where in the elevator they start playing music with their weapons, and it's honestly probably the funniest part of the whole movie, I'm not gonna lie. The turtles do eventually make it up to the tower to fight Shredder, and not gonna lie, this is a pretty fun battle. Granted, it's not as fun as the truck chase down the hill earlier in the movie, but still a good fight nonetheless. But once it's all done and over with, Raph says Cowabunga with a jump kick, Donatello disables the device that's going to destroy New York City, which leads to an honestly drawn-out scene of the tower falling over and the turtles falling with it. Then the turtles come home and see that Splinter's going to make a full recovery and that he's going to live. And we get to see that Vernon got a new car, which Mikey accidentally blows up. And then the movie ends with the turtles driving off into the sunset. Or the alleyway. And with that, that concludes my video on the first Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie. And to be honest, it's better than I remember. Not by much. Like, it's a good movie if you just turn your brain off and just enjoy the action. But I think I know now why I didn't like it so much. Like, compared to the other movies that came before, it kind of felt underwhelming because with the first Ninja Turtle movie, it was a big leap in visual effects, and the fact they're able to do the story at all was impressive. But with Ninja Turtles 2, it amps things up by having them fight more mutants. So, they kept raising the scale. Ninja Turtles 3, it was a time travel movie. They kept trying something different. After that, we got TMNT, a really good story and a honestly pretty cool idea for the Turtles. And with Turtles Forever, it was basically a multiverse movie before those became popular. And this movie, it's just another Turtles fights the Shredder story with a generic Hollywood evil villain plan. I don't know, like, the movie was better than what I was expecting. So, I don't know, I don't think it's as bad as people say it is anymore. So yeah, the movie was better than what I was expecting. But the next movie we're going to be looking at is worse than what I thought this movie was going to be. God help me.